We're 1 year into the papacy of Pope Leo XIV, and while he is the leader of the global Catholic Church, how is the first American pope leading American Catholics? Here are 4 things to know. 1. Pope Leo knows Americans, not just American Catholics, are listening to what he has to say.
Leo knows that the Americans are paying a lot of attention to him. 1, because he is American, but 2, because he speaks our language. He's able to speak to American Catholics in a way that Francis sometimes couldn't, right? There was a language barrier.
That's Colleen Dulle, Vatican correspondent for America Magazine, a Catholic Jesuit magazine based in the U.S. Unlike most modern-era popes, Leo speaks English natively, which means it's much easier for American outlets to play his quotes on TV or the radio.
He's very aware that if he says something in English, it's going to be picked up on the news, especially in the US or the English-speaking world.
2. Pope Leo is very aware of divisions in America and between American Catholics. His strategy to bridge these divides? A message of unity. Politically conservative Catholics were excited when Pope Leo started his papacy returning to tradition, like coming out on the balcony in the traditional vestment for new popes and moving into the Apostolic Palace. But now that we're hitting Pope Leo's 1-year mark,
we're starting to see some resistance from some of the same quarters that were very vocally resistant to Francis. And I think that those were maybe just kind of surface signals. And it's over time that, maybe they've learned that he's actually not all that different in message from Francis.
However, Pope Leo is making strides towards unity Francis didn't take. One way he's doing this is listening to people on both sides. Like last fall, when he had 2 separate meetings with members of the American clergy with opposite views. Cardinal Raymond Burke, a vocal supporter of the Latin Mass and critic of Francis, and Father James Martin, known for his ministry to LGBTQ Catholics.
It really showed, kind of, especially for American Catholics, that this is a pope who will give everyone a fair audience, a fair listen.
And when the Archbishop of Chicago faced scrutiny when he selected Illinois Senator Dick Durbin, a Catholic who supports access to abortion, for a Lifetime Achievement Award, the Pope noted,
someone who says that I'm against abortion, but I'm in agreement with the inhuman treatment of immigrants who are in the United States. I don't know if that's pro-life. We need to, really look closely at all of these ethical issues and to find the way forward as church. Church teaching on each one of those issues is very clear.
Leo's work to unify the Catholic Church is guided by his Augustinian belief that Catholics, and all people, are seeking the truth together.
The goal is just to get everyone moving in the same direction. He says some people will always be running ahead, some people will always be lagging behind. The important thing is that nobody is going totally the opposite way.
3. Pope Leo addressing the Trump administration by name is not typical of Vatican policy.
I have no fear of neither the Trump administration nor speaking out loudly about the message of the gospel.
Usually a pope or a Vatican official even will speak about a situation without using names, and then they'll leave it kind of to the public to infer who they're talking about. And usually it's quite obvious. So it was unusual that we saw Pope Leo divert from that a little bit.
Dulle does note that every time Leo has spoken about the Trump administration, it has been prompted by a reporter asking about Trump or U.S. politics. However,
he could have avoided the name if he wanted to, so it was an interesting choice.
The Iran conflict wasn't the first time Pope Leo has spoken on Trump policies, but once he started being directly critical of the U.S.,
we started seeing a lot of pushback from the Trump administration, whereas previously they could, at least have some plausible deniability that he wasn't talking about them.
4. Did Pope Leo turn down Vice President J.D. Vance's Washington invitation to visit Lampedusa instead? Vance did invite Pope Leo to America's 250th celebration shortly after Leo's election, but it was later announced Leo would be visiting the island of Lampedusa, the first step to refugees fleeing to Europe, on July 4th. But
popes generally don't visit countries when they have elections. We have midterms this year, so a visit to the United States was probably not going to happen in 2026, certainly under Vatican protocol.
Notably, though, on July 3rd, Pope Leo will deliver a remote address as he receives an award from the National Constitution Center.
That'll give him a chance to deliver a message very directly to Americans and not just American Catholics. And incidentally, I think it's interesting that this is an event that does not involve President Trump or Vice President Vance. So it's really just direct to us.
For PBS News, I'm Cecilia Lallmann.
Support journalism you trust. Support PBS News. Donate now, or even better, Start a monthly contribution today.